the pitching matchup, but these two teams going at it. And when you talk about Maddie Norman, she of course is one of the starting pitchers, and when you talk for the University of Louisville, you have Watson involved. But a great tradition here for the Louisville Cardinals. And let's talk about these team comparisons. I mentioned the ACC and the SEC, and what about the team comparisons?
They are pretty even when it comes to matchup. They come with strong pitching units, and so it'll be a little bit of a pitcher's duel. And again, I talked about Maddie Norman, kind of a homecoming for her. Since she played 2 years here at Louisville. So she'll feel quite at home. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic for the Cards to have to battle.
And when you talk about the two teams playing, it's early in the season. They've had a lot of things to work on. The weather has been an issue, but this is an important time of the season. And one of the things we do want to talk about is Maddie Norman and Danielle Watson. Those are the two starting pitchers.
That's right. Danielle Watson, this will be her 9th plate appearance on the season. She's coming in with a 2.44 ERA. And right-handed pitcher. She's 3-4 on the year, but she's also a dual threat. You don't see a whole lot of pitchers who can come in and make not only a difference on the mound, but also at the plate. She is a hitting pitcher, and so that'll be fun to watch her up at bat. She did not play against Indiana State this last game, so it'll be fun to see her up at the plate this game.
And when you talk about these two teams, obviously they're trying to get things done early in the season, and that's not easy when you have this type of weather. So they did have to adjust the tournament schedule a little bit, but the teams are getting to play because we can actually have some snow on Sunday, so they had to adjust the schedule. And I think the important thing is the teams get the opportunity to play. And the weather is like 35 degrees
it is
outside.
Cold and balmy.
It is, yes, it is. And the Cardinals getting ready to take the field, and we'll have the opportunity to take a look at some of the starting lineups here for those two teams, Mizzou and the University of Louisville going at it. The Cardinals did play in the previous game. We'll talk about the Louisville pitcher, and that's Danielle Watson.
So as we said before, there you get a nice close-up of Danielle Watson.
There she is.
Taking some warm-up pitches, making sure she's hitting her spots. She brings the speed, she brings the intensity.
You could see it on her face.
Yes. And she's got a great snap of the wrist. She's fun to watch because of that snap of the wrist. She doesn't have a lot of extraneous movements like you see some pitchers. She does come to the side just a little bit, but really her momentum is backward to forward. And so that's going to help her get more speed behind that ball.
So the Louisville Cardinals, they did get a win, by the way, when they opened up play in the Cardinal Classic in the first game today, coming from behind to beat Indiana State. And now it's the Cards and Mizzou going at it. And it'll be Brooke Wilms, the sophomore out of Johnson, Iowa, to lead things off. Left-handed batter. There's a good look at her. And the pitch is in for a strike. Overcast day. So they had to make a 3-day event into a 2-day event. There's a swing and a miss by.
Great movement on that pitch.
Mm-hmm. One and one the count. Wilms bounced this one to third. Takes care of it for a quick out in the inning. That's a pretty good start.
Sid Melton does a good job moving to her left side to field this ball cleanly and is able to make the play to Kira Snyder at first base.
And we'll take a look at the lineup for Mizzou. One ball, 2 strikes to count. There's a good shot from center field on Watson, and swing and a foul tip, but now the tag made from the Cardinal catcher, and there's an out in the inning.
one thing that Coach Holly always talks about that is an opportunity for this Louisville Cardinals team is this communication in her infield. The communication was on key to make sure that Rebecca Chung knew, tag that batter for the out, and she did a great job listening to her teammates.
She did indeed. And Reagan Nash, a senior out of Camden Point, Missouri, will come to the plate and takes a strike.
Boy, Danielle Watson is really hitting her pitches. That was a beautiful rise ball there.
And a swing and a miss by Nash. Long look in. Right-handed pitcher against the left-handed batter. A check swing foul off to the right.
You see Nash trying to do a hard slap on that ball, sending that ball in foul territory on the left-hand side. But again, that's the goal of a slapper, is to get it in that 5-6 position, even on a hard slap.
Cardinal defense in at the corners inside the bag, looking for that slap. It's a check swing, fielded at shortstop by Ferguson, and no play at all. And there's that speed at the top of the order for Mizzou.
And that was a good hold by Danielle Ferguson. She's had some throwing issues in the past, and so I think that was, I think that was a great play just to hold the ball. Great communication by her infield to not make that throw.
That'll bring up Kobe Romaine, and she'll take a ball out of Chino Hills, California, the senior. There's a call strike. Romaine batting .297. That pitch down a little bit low. So the Cardinal defense, Melton at third, Ferguson at short, Newman at second, Snyder at first, Butler, Funky, and Hensley in the outfield. Watson in the circle. That's a swing and a miss.
Great inside pitch there.
And Chung behind the plate. Kobe, a .297 batting average. And now we're settling in for the 2-2 pitch. That's up high.
I've been very impressed with 37, Rebecca Chung. She goes by Becca. Coming in as a freshman, you don't see a whole lot of people making a huge impact. And not only is she able to make a big impact with her bat, but she's got great composure behind the plate. And I think a lot of that has to do with, when I got to watch practice this week, Madison Cousineau has really taken Becca Chung under her wing.
There's a good play there.
It's been great.
And Mizzou taking the field now, and you see Norman, the former Cardinal. There's quite a story in itself, isn't it, Suzanne?
She's really pitching lights out this season with an under 1 ERA. She comes in as a force to be reckoned with. She is able to throw that ball hard, and she's able to hit spots.
An outstanding right-hander, and got to be a little extra effort involved in this anytime you face your former school. But it'll be Sydney Melton to begin things. And she takes a strike at the letters as she runs up on it. Norman 5-2, 41 innings pitched, 34 hits, 15 runs, 5 of them earned. Struck out 33 and walked 10. There's a swing and a miss. So she has been in command of most of her games. You can tell, even though with those 2 losses, certainly it wasn't because of her pitching.
Right. Well, and I think, too, it's always an interesting dynamic to go back to a school maybe that you were recruited heavily by, that you're very familiar with, or that maybe you transferred from. You want to come and show them, hey, I know I left, but I am a dynamite player, and so I'm sure she's bringing the ice water veins today.
Yep. Matter of fact, there's kind of an oddity, a positive one she was involved with. We'll talk about after this 1-2 pitch that's chopped foul. She and Eli Daniel and Summer Shockley combined to pitch a 5-inning no-hitter.
That's incredible.
That's, of course, must have been from the 5-run rule, but it's not easy to do with one, much less 3.
You're exactly right.
Beautiful view from Ulmer Stadium from center field. And the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a strikeout.
You see Sid Melton there talking to Celine Funky, just saying, hey, here's something to watch for when it comes to Norman's pitching, giving her a few pointers.
Well, the bottom dropped out of that one, didn't it?
Yes, that was a beautiful drop ball.
Now Celine Funky, the junior from Carmel, Indiana, chops this one foul at the plate. Funky batting .357. Celine was 3 for 4 with an RBI in the 7-1 win by Louisville over Indiana State in the opening game of the Cardinal Softball Classic.
And again, Don, we always talk about that triple threat, and Celine Funky embodies that triple threat. She is able to put that ball down on a bunt when she needs to. She can slap, and you better believe Celine Funky can hit away with power.
Yeah, this is a good battle between these two. Swing and a miss. Took something off that pitch, and Celine was fooled just a bit. You can just look out in the circle and see that Norman has command of things when she's there.
She is in the zone.
Yeah. Swing and a miss. He gets the K.
Again, beautiful ball placement there by Maddie Norman. You see Celine swing and miss, and she was kind of forward, leaning forward on her toes, which is not going to give you good balance on your feet to be able to make good contact with that.
Yep, and they had the count wrong, and now they correct it. It's 2-2. So everybody is on the same page. One out and nobody on. And boy, I tell you right now, you can tell that Norman has the Louisville batters really out of kilter.
Funky looked rattled on that last pitch. I'm sure not knowing the count. You know, Funky knows the count in her head. But as you see this, she's leaning forward just a little bit, and she's off balance. And so when you lean forward onto your toes, that pushes your behind back. You are completely off kilter to be able to put any power on that ball.
Here's Megan Hensley, and Megan knows what good pitching is about, and she's a good hitter as well, as she takes a strike on the outside corner. Hensley batting .310. At just a little bit outside. Hensley was 1 for 4 with a run batted in. And she pitched the first 4 innings in the Cardinals game against Indiana State before giving way to Taylor Roby, who was the winning pitcher. Tried to nip outside again and missed it. 2-1 the count. You can tell that Norman is a player that likes to nibble around in all different areas.
Well, she's really testing Megan Hensley here. You saw her go just a little bit low and outside, and on that ball she went even further outside and a high ball to see what, you know, Megan Hensley will chase. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to get Megan Hensley to swing and chase the ball.
Measuring each other. That's exactly what you're seeing now and described so well. As Hensley now has worked to count to 3-1. And after getting back-to-back Ks, you know that Norman would like to end things here. And that's off the end of the bat, knocked down at second base by Bailey. And there's no play.
Megan Hensley did a great job just putting her head down, digging in, and sprinting to the first base bag after the second baseman dropped that ball. That's why you always run through the bag.
So she's a 2-out base runner. And now Caitlin Ferguson to the plate. And Caitlin takes a pitch at the knees for a strike. Ferguson 0 for 3. Did walk in the previous game in the 7-1 Louisville win over Indiana State. Swinging a foul, drifting out of play. Louisville with the win today.
It looked as though the hit and run were on that last play. Megan Hensley got quite a jump off that first base bag.
Now she's back there. Good point. And it's a chopper fielded by the pitcher. The only play is the first that they need, and that will end the inning. So the Cardinals get a runner on, and that's it at the end of an inning here at beautiful look at Ulmer Stadium, a cornerstone of Cardinal Park, University of Louisville campus. Overcast day in the 30s, but we're bringing you the Cardinal Softball Classic on the ACC Network Extra, Missouri and Louisville. And on the first pitch swinging, Wirt gets a solid single, and she didn't waste any time getting that one past the shortstop into left field for the first hit in the game.
Great solid hit there by Kim Wirt, number 17. She is able to connect the barrel on that ball very solidly. Just pulled it just a little bit to hit that shortstop third base gap there. And that brings up fifth batter here. And between the fourth, fifth, and sixth batter, all of them have slugging percentages over 600. So they've got some big bats in the lineup coming up.
Yep. And it looks like we're going to have a runner over at first base.
Danny Garrison, number 3.
Danny Garrison.
Pitch running for the Tigers, number 3, Danny Garrison. Now batting, number 12.
You see the Cardinal dugout making that changes. And that'll bring up Torres. Gina, freshman out of Rochester, New Hampshire, as they call it.
You talking about coming onto a team and making an instant impact. Gina Torres, as a freshman, has a 381 average or batting average and a slugging percentage of 857. She's making some big moves as a freshman coming in.
Absolutely. And a chance here. Runner about halfway and came back. Takes a strike, does Torres.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Danny Garrison, number 3, who's on first base, steal this second base right now.
Yeah, she looks like she's in a position to run. And she bluffed it. And now it's 2 balls and a strike. When you look down the batting order, in the lineup, you see that 1, 2, 3 freshmen in the Missouri lineup. Swing and a miss. Runner goes, and the throw not quite in time. And that's what you anticipated, with Garrison running at first to get the stolen base and move in scoring position.
Well, and Rebecca Chung, her throw was a little high, as you see. So coming into Caitlin Ferguson, you really want that ball to be waist high so you can get that tag down immediately. But number 3, Danny Garrison, did a great job sliding under that tag and being aware of where that ball was coming from.
So Torres, 3 balls and 2 strikes to her at the plate, nobody out. And now you got Garrison, the pinch runner, down at second base with the game's potential first run. Popped up foul out of play to the left. Lights have been on pretty much all day here today, because when we played this morning around 10:30, it was still kind of hazy. Things have cleared up now, and getting play in today and then action tomorrow, trying to squeeze 3 days into 2. And the payoff pitch, and that's a walk. Now you got 2 aboard with no out. Good eye at the plate that time by Martin.
Stepping in for Missouri, number 18, Callie Martin.
Now, the Cardinals have a force out at 3, so you see a lot of the infield talking to one another, making sure everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows where the play is.
Callie Martin, a sophomore out of Raymore, Missouri, 5'9" young player, right-handed batter. And now Watson facing her first real jam as we play her in the top half of the 2nd inning. 2 on, nobody out. Squaring the bunt as the runners go.
It's stuck in the umpire's arm.
And the ball got
He's like,
stuck in the umpires.
He's even laughing about it.
What is the missing ball trick? He has, of course, a chest protector underneath his outside shirt.
You see Sid Melton creeping just a little bit, waiting for that bunt.
Yep. And only play is the first, and they get the out as the runners move up. Boy, that was a heck of a play getting the out.
You saw Sid Melton creeping in. She knew and was anticipating that was coming, but almost overran it.
Number 31.
Luckily, pitcher Danielle Watson was able to scoop that ball fast enough and still make the play and get an out. But now Mizzou has 2 runners in scoring position.
Yep, and only 1 out. And that'll bring up Hattie Moore, and she swings on the first pitch and grounds it foul outside of third. Moore, a 5'9" sophomore from LaGrange, Texas, working against Watson. There's a good look at Moore. Has a .257 batting average and a chance now to plate a couple of runs for the Tigers. That fastball is high and in. The pause and the kick and the pitch. Just a little bit low.
I really like that spot where Danielle Watson threw that pitch inside and low. Let's see if we can get Hattie Moore to try and hit that pitch.
Well, Moore ahead in the count, 2-1. That's a swing and a miss.
Almost the identical pitch, that low and inside. This time Hattie Moore bit.
And now that evens the count at 2-2. So Watson trying to come back in a big time way and take care of Moore and get the second out in the inning. Let's see if she can do it. She did, possibly. Grounded to short. It's taken by the third baseman, Melton, to get the out, but a run will score. So that's exactly what you want from Missouri that time, and got it on the ground on the infield.
The way that ball was hit to the left-hand side of Sid Melton, she was able to scoop that on her glove side. As you see, you think, why did she take the ball away from Caitlin Ferguson? Right. Well, again, that's Sid Melton's glove side. That's her ball to take.
Good point, and she did. Probably the only one that could have made the play, too.
Yes, I mean, Sid Melton has a cannon of an arm.
So 2 outs and a run in. Still a runner at third base in Rolland. That pitch is up high. 2-0 the count. So Watson really needs to focus and try to get this third out. As Kendall Bailey, the freshman, batting .152. Don't let her get the runner in. That's a check swing. Got the number 8 hitter in the order. And the lowest batting average per se early in the season. And a 3-0. Walked her on 4 pitches.
That's a big miss. And you
Yep.
see the infield all conversing, making eye contact. Now we've got a 1st and 3rd opportunity for Mizzou Tigers. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see number 2, Kendall Bailey, stealing second base to put both runners in scoring position.
So now Watson's going to have to work out of a jam as Abby George, the St. Louis, Missouri sophomore, batting .300, now comes to the plate with 2 outs, a run in. But you have that potential second run at third base. Check swing, foul. Now Snyder will move back. Excuse me, Bailey will move back over by Snyder at first.
Abby George just looking to meet that ball and send it over Sid Melton, who is again creeping in, facing this slapper.
And that's upstairs. Tried to get her to go after one way out of the strike zone. Well, the number 9 hitter in the batting order. Check swing, didn't check, so that'll be a strike.
See that squeeze bunt play in action. The goal is to get the infield to try and get to throw that ball down to second so the runner on third can score.
Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Abby George. Her first at bat in the game. Going to be a tough play. The only play will be nowhere. That was that big chop. And Ferguson had to wait for the ball to come down. And, well, that's what happens when you get some runners on base and then you get an opportunity to score a run this way.
Well, and that is the perfect execution for a slapping position. If you're going to slap the ball, you want to hit that top half to top third of the ball down. And so it's a choppy hit. So that left side of the field has to make a dynamic play in order to beat you to first base.
Yep. 2-0 and swinging on the first pitch is Wilms, and it's dropped by the center fielder. And all hands are safe. Well, things just not falling into place as Funky had to come a long way to get it.
She spotted that ball. She had it in her sights the entire time. That is a routine fly ball for Celine Funky to make. That's surprising.
And it's a 3-0 game because, of course, with 2 outs, you had the runners going. And of course, that'll be an unearned run there.
The defense really needs to step up to help Danielle Watson out here. They have to make those plays in order to get themselves out of the innings like this.
Yep, and what we've seen from Maddie Norman, a 3-run lead is a pretty good lead.
Yes.
Versus a 1-run lead. Swing and a miss there. As Nash grounded out right back to the pitcher and her only at bat. Swing and a foul off to the left. Well, as we look off to the left to downtown Louisville, you can actually see the haze. So it's not been a clear day, but good enough to get the softball in for this Cardinal Softball Classic involving Louisville, Mizzou, Indiana State, and IUPUI. 3-0 Missouri over Louisville as we're in the middle half of the second inning here at Ulmer Stadium. Welcome back to Ulmer Stadium. We are in the bottom half of the second inning. Missouri got a 3-spot, leads Louisville 3-0. And on the first pitch swinging, Chung got a piece of it. It's off the pitcher, but picked up at third base by Wirt to make the play and get the out.
What a heads-up play there by Kim Wirt to be able to grab that ball that trickled off the glove of Norman and was able to come up and gunning down Becca Chung at first base.
Of course, the University of Louisville starting a new coaching regime, only the second coach in Cardinal history. Of course, Sandy Pearsall started the program over 20 years ago, and now Holly April in the third base coaching backs, the UMass grad. And everybody's really excited about what she's going to do with the program. Came from Pitt, where she was the ACC Coach of the Year. This pitch down low.
Coach Holly has really brought energy to this team, bringing maybe a little youth, a new perspective, you know, plus her background is amazing. Brings a lot of tenured experience here to Louisville. And the girls are really buying into her vision and seeing the team overall as opposed to just my individual stats. That's Coach Holly's big thing, is it's about team, not about you.
Yeah, make the pieces fit, and she has an interesting system she uses and just has all the credentials to do a great job. Of course, Sandy Pearsall, a legend here, built the program from scratch, and now you get a coach like you have in Holly to come in and just does a great job, and the facilities and the commitment. She's really excited to be here, and I think Cardinal fans are too, to see that what started by Sandy Pearsall is going to be continued in a big way here, and I think great hire by Vince Tyree.
Absolutely. You know, I think Coach Holly's going to take the ball and she's just going to elevate this program even higher than where Sandy left it, and that's a big testament to her energy and her vision. And you know, she's been assessing the culture at this point, you know, and wants to maybe change the culture a little bit to fit her coaching style.
That's all coaches do.
And then, you know, then you see the culture thrive at that point. So we'll kind of see that evolve over the next couple of years, but I'm excited to see where this Cardinal program is going.
And you saw that strikeout by Norman. She is just so impressive. There's quickly 2 out and nobody on. She knows she has a 3-run lead, and she's just rocking it and bringing it home. There's a call strike.
She is really able to maneuver the ball and is placing it with precision. It is quite a masterful work by Maddie Norman.
There you see from behind 22. There's a taken strike.
I always find it interesting watching Kira Snyder. If you watch her as she gets up to the plate, her hands don't touch.
Yeah, you're right.
Not many people you see do that. You think you get more leverage when you have your hands together, but I guess she feels like she gets a better feel of the bat with her hands an inch apart.
Yeah. And you see that very seldom, maybe with some slap hitters, but you'll see a good example of it here. Look at the difference. Look at the space between the top and bottom of the bat. Took a look at that one and has worked the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, I guess everybody does things differently, and whatever works. You can see she's been hit a few times on the elbow. She has that protective device on her right elbow. She bounces one right back to the circle in an easy 1-2-3 inning for Norman and Mizzou. 3-0 Missouri over Louisville here at Homer Stadium. The blankets are out and having a little bit of fun here at the softball park. You're bundled up too.
I mean, I know, and we're up here in the press box in climate control. I can't imagine.
Here's Colby Romaine to begin things, the senior. She's been up once and grounded out to short to Ferguson. 3-0 Missouri. As you're watching the ACC Network Extra, bringing you the Cardinal Softball Classic. Louisville with a win against Indiana State in the opening game. 3-0 Missouri over Louisville in this SEC-ACC matchup. There's a taken strike. 1-2 the count. Danielle Watson, sophomore, Indiana native. And this one is lined into left field. That's a solid single. Butler bobbles it. And that'll allow a single to become a two-base hit. It's down in the corner, no hesitation at all by Romaine, and she ended up at second base.
You could see Charlie Butler debating about which side of the glove she wanted to take this ball with. She should have taken that on a reverse glove side, but tried to get in front of it with her speed, and unfortunately when she did that, wasn't able to cleanly field the ball.
Yep, and now we're going to have a pinch runner at second base. It's going to be Taja Ellison, redshirt freshman out of Phoenix. So she'll be on the bag at second. And Wirt will be the hitter.
And again, Danielle Watson needing her defense to step up behind her and make key plays. If Charlie Butler had fielded that ball cleanly and hit her cutoff woman in Caitlin Ferguson, the batter would still be on first base.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you know, we were talking about Louisville, the head coach, Larissa Anderson, in her first season at Missouri. Came from Hofstra, where she was there for 3 years as the head coach. There's a swing and a miss. Was an assistant coach, and then there's coach there. Larissa, they're excited about what she can do. She was a fine player, played at Gannon University from 1994 to 97. It's a foul off to the right. So I'm sure the folks at Mizzou, she had led Hofstra to 2 NCAA tournaments, a couple of conference titles, and now in the SEC. Watson misses outside. Wirt with a single back in the second. Batting .348 on the year. Working against Watson in the circle for Louisville.
Danielle really painting that outside pitch picture, trying to get Wirt to bite on that outside pitch ball.
Last year, Missouri was 6-17 in the SEC, and I'm sure they have much higher expectations under the new coaching staff. And that's a ball inside, and the count full now on Wirt.
Good trap there by Becca Chung. That could have been a very dangerous ball in the dirt had that gotten past Becca Chung's glove.
And Watson about to throw pitch number 50 here in the top of the third inning. It's popped up, and the shortstop Ferguson had to pause momentarily to find it and make the play. You can see
Fergus smiling a little bit. That caught her off kilter. She moved forward first and then realized, wait a minute, I gotta take some steps back here to make this play, and giggled at Sid Melton after she made the play.
And that's an out with a runner at second.
Number 4, Jasmine Rollin.
And Jasmine Rollin, freshman, batting .667, left-handed stick. That's a pretty hefty batting average.
Yes.
And Watson with the check and the pitch to the plate. That's a line shot, one hopper to short. Nice pickup and play by Ferguson. No advancement at all by Ellison. That's the way you do it. Check the runner, make the play.
That's right. So you see Caitlin Ferguson as she fields this ball under her left arm, or over her left arm, pardon me. She's going to check that runner at second before she fires to first.
Well done. And a big second out, as Louisville's trying to keep Mizzou at bay after getting that 3-run spot in the top of the second inning.
Danielle Watson is finally getting some much needed reprieve from her defense unit.
No question. Kaylee Martin had a sacrifice in her only at bat, so officially on the statistics side, even though it's listed as a sack, it's not included in some of the other stats. Martin, a sophomore, pretty young team. Only one senior in the starting lineup. There's a little one bouncer to second. And Newman takes care of it to end the inning.
That was a great pitch there by Danielle Watson to really jam the batter in, and they weren't able to pull that ball.
And Danielle Watson to begin things, the sophomore for the Louisville Cardinals here in the bottom half of the third inning, with Missouri leading 3-0 here at the Cardinals Softball Classic at Homer Stadium, along with Suzanne Bush. I'm Don Russell, Jeremy Noe, our director of broadcasting and the ACC network at the controls, and had a great basketball game last night for the number 3 ranked Louisville Cardinals. Softball here over the weekend, and
Pair of baseball games, yeah.
Baseball, tennis.
Busy weekend here on campus.
Yes, it is. Watson ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. And a one chopper foul at third. Wirt pick it up just outside the line.
I would like to see a throw off between number 17 Kim Wirt and Louisville Cardinals Sid Melton, also at third base. Between the two of them, I mean, they are able to throw that ball very hard. It is, I mean, wow.
And that's one of the toughest places to play. Here's a chopper foul as the aforementioned Wirt goes to get it in foul ground. Wirt's at third. Wilms at second. Bailey, or short. Bailey at second. Romaine at first. Nash, Martin, and George left, center, and right in the outfield. Norman in the circle, and Moore behind the plate for the Missouri Tigers. Off the end of the bat, and the play to first.
She
when you get one off
beat
the
that?
end of the bat, yes, she almost beat it. That no, when you're fooled pretty big too, right?
Yes, yeah. So the fact that it's cold, I'm sure Danielle Watson's fingers are stinging after hitting that on the end of the bat and having to be so cold.
Well, Norman thus far in 2 1/3. He's not given up a hit, obviously no run, struck out 3, and has not walked a batter. As Butler.
The Cardinals haven't even batted through their lineup yet.
That's right.
So some of these batters are still, this is the first time they're seeing Norman's pitches.
Here's the 1-0 to Butler, high and away.
I can almost guarantee that bench over on Louisville's side, they are all conversing, okay, how are we going to make the adjustments against Norman's pitching, coming to see her for the second time at bat?
Butler 0 for 2 with a run scored in the first game.
Beautiful inside pitch.
Yep, takes the strike there. Here's a good look at the North Carolina freshman playing in left field. 2-1 pitch, up a little bit high. Butler out now, backhand, and 3-1 pitch. That's right at the knees. Butler hoping for the call. Good pitch.
See that? She barely brings that ball back, or brings that bat back. She wanted to swing at it. She should have. It was a strike.
It was there.
But she was thinking that might come inside too much.
There's a chop foul at the plate off the bat of Butler.
Still battling.
Of course, there'll be a lot of great softball all season in the ACC, this SEC-ACC matchup. Of course, the reigning, defending, whatever you want to call Florida State national champion, finally, after many frustrating losses in the championship game, won the NCAA Women's Softball Championship for D1. And that's a strike-3 call to Butler. Terrific pitch by Norman.
You see this ball has a lot of movement inside and high, but catches that inside corner of the plate.
Forced strikeout for the right-hander.
See it one more time. You see that high and inside pitch.
Now Sydney Melton. She squares as if to bunt at it. Sydney 0 for 1 today. Batting average now down to 292.
You can see her. She's, again, this is her way of making adjustments. She's throwing that bunt out there last minute to try and see the ball and get it in play so she can get on base.
And takes that pitch outside. Well, she took a ball off the face in the first game in the win against Indiana State, and I think we had that close up a minute ago. You might be able to see some of that. But
oh, I'm sure it left a mark. That thing came off with speed and spin.
Yep.
But if there's one player that's going to be able to bounce back from getting hit in the face, it's Sid Melton.
Yeah. It was a ball that was a base hit, but it hit strangely, then hit off her and then the bag. She swings and fouls this one to the right of the plate. Well, Norman with that intensity, and
again,
the Tigers play in one of the best leagues too in the ACC, so she's going to be a main part of it for the success of this Tiger program, I would think.
Sure.
One hopper to short and an easy out and an easy inning. So we've completed 3-0 Missouri over the Louisville Cardinals here in the Ville. Don't forget, ESPN and the ACC bring you your ACC network, a new 24/7 network covering all the ACC action across sport and the season. 15 universities all on one network will have a new place to call home. Revel in the rivalry and tradition like never before with live games, exclusive access, original shows, and analysis of all things ACC. And it's coming in August. And visit GetAACC or ACCN.com. A lot of letters there, but we know it's coming. And an easy out to begin the inning for Watson. She hadn't had many of those. She's had to work pretty hard today against this Missouri lineup.
Her pitch count is almost double
Yep.
the pitch count of Maddie Norman.
Yeah, Watson at 62 pitches. You're right. Bailey walked and scored a run. That was back in the second inning. She's at a 152 batting average. Bats 8th in the order. And one of those talented freshmen in the lineup for Mizzou chops this one foul at the plate. Making the adjustment from a 3-day tournament. This time called as Chung wants to talk with Watson. Basically squeezing the tournament into 2 days because of the inclement weather scheduled for Sunday, and they're talking about some serious snow. Little number. Watson knocks it down, picks it up, and throws out Bailey.
Great reflex there by Danielle Watson. All she had to do was make one step, but again, after you pitch the ball, you are off balance, and so to be able to react to a ball after that is very difficult.
Yeah.
And so you see she just knocks it down with her glove, and luckily she had enough time to still make the play to Kira Snyder at first.
Yeah, you don't think about that. You've gone through your whole motion to let it go, and then all of a sudden you come from pitcher to defender.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Here's Abby George. Abby, a single and an RBI back in the second inning. She has moved her average up to 364. It's a pretty good average for your number 9 hitter. Shows you the depth that Missouri has been able to produce early in the season. There's a little check swing, and it goes off the glove of Melton. Ferguson picks it up, but no chance to get George.
So that was the perfect slapper scenario. She hit that shortstop, third base gap, mishit the ball, if you will, and unfortunately defense was not able to handle it. And because Abby George is so fast, she's able to beat that play out.
That's the second Cardinal error, and looked like as the runner goes and fouled off the bat of Wilmus. But Ferguson was shaken up a little bit there on that play she tried to make, but she's shaking it off now. It's short. Just outside.
I like when I see teams in that 9th batting position or 10th batting position have somebody that's able to put that ball in play and is fast. I almost like having a slapper in that last batting position to really put somebody on base for that top of the lineup to get up there. It's an extra body on base. Obviously you want everybody on base, but I love having a slapper in that last batting position, if you will.
2 balls and a strike, 2 out. Runner at first base. 3-0 Missouri leading Louisville. Runner goes. The pitch was a ball.
Chung was late on that. She was slow popping up to get that ball down. So you see Caitlin Ferguson didn't even try to put the tag on. She just caught the ball and held it.
Now George at second base. 3-1 to count. Watson trying to close the door, and now she's walked a batter, and that puts runners at first and second and 2 down.
Again, smart strategy by the Missouri Tigers to have that slapper in that last batting position, getting her, you know, she's fast, so she gets on base, George gets on base, and then is able to steal second, and now they've got 2 runners on board.
You know, we were talking about Coach Anderson. 4 seasons she was 130, 73 and 1 as the head coach at Hofstra. Took them to 2 NCAA tournaments. And that's obviously what the Missouri Tigers have in mind.
Yeah, she was at Hofstra for
Quite a
many
few
years, in various capacity.
You could hear just a piece of it got the bat. And that's a swinging strike. 3 runs in that second inning. That has been the run production in the game for either team, and that from the Missouri Tigers. 2 Cardinal errors have been costly. And that's a ball outside. Louisville's yet to get a hit through 3 as we play here in the top of the 4th. Indiana State and UPUI, the other teams in the Cardinals Softball Classic. Nash is struck out and grounded out, 0 for 2. She runs up and checks her swing and fouls it just beyond the Cardinal dugout along the third baseline.
Dawn, one thing that I've noticed, Danielle Watson needs to be very careful with her footwork. If you see her front foot that is supposed to stay on the plate at all times on her pitching plate, she actually pulls her foot off on some of her pitches. It seemed like it kept contact on that pitch, but the one before that, her foot came completely off the pitcher's mound.
3-0. Beautiful shot of Omer Stadium here, a part of Cardinal Park on the University of Louisville campus. Glad you joined us on ACC Network Extra for an SEC-ACC matchup in the Cardinal Softball Classic. Along with Suzanne Bush, I'm Don Russell, Jeremy Noe on controls. And you can still see that Celine Funky likes to get that war paint on, as we call it.
Mm-hmm. Celine Funky provides such a great energy for this Cardinal team. She's a very vocal leader, and if there is one person that you can hear overall all the others, it is Celine Funky. She really gets her teammates pumped up and excited, and it's fun to watch her. Really, her energy is contagious for this Cardinal team.
And just a junior, 5'7" Indiana native. Had a terrific first game, as that just missed inside, as in the win for Louisville, 7-1 over Indiana State. Funky 3 for 4 in RBI. Left-handed batter against the right-hander, Maddie Norman, the former Louisville Cardinal. Just outside, looks like Maddie trying to nibble around this time with Funky. She has struck out 4 and not walked a batter. That's what you want to do when you're in that circle.
Dominating is the one word I would use to describe Maddie Norman's performance thus far.
2 hops to second. Big hop comes up to Bailey, and she makes the play easily.
Nice clean fielding there, even though it was quite a choppy hit by Celine Funky. You see 2 bounces. She really has to come up and take that ball into the chest, but she's able to field it cleanly and make the play.
And that's why they tell you to make sure you're always in front of the ball, correct?
Knock it down in any way you can. And we talked about Sid Melton taking one to the face in Indiana State. The fact is, she knocked the ball down, period. That's the goal, especially for your infielders.
This will bring up Megan Hensley. She reached on an error on her only at bat. Louisville still looking for their first hit against Norman. That's a good fastball right on the outside part of the plate to Hensley. Megan's batting average now just a little above 300, 302. Chopper foul between the third base bag and Coach April down there.
You see Coach Hawley nodding her head. Yes, Megan Hensley did a good job turning on that ball. It was a tough pitch. It was probably going to be a ball coming inside a little high, but Megan Hensley was able to take it and turn on it and just send it foul.
Man, it's hard to see. It seemed like Megan was just a freshman yesterday. Now she's a senior. Terrific recruit out of Ashland, Kentucky. Norman with the 1-2 line shot, base hit. So Hensley gets the first Cardinal hit in the game as she lines one. Well, she won that battle as she got it right by the shortstop into left field for a hit.
Coach Hawley always talks about quality at-bats. Megan Hensley battling here and really just meets the ball, doesn't swing that hard, which you don't have to when you've got a pitcher throwing as hard as Maddie Norman is. Meet the ball for a base hit, get it into the outfield, into the grass, on the ground, and you find yourself on base.
There you see, looks like there's going to maybe be some changes.
Runner.
Going to have a runner over at first base.
Got Jordan Wolf.
Yep. See Jordan trying to loosen up a little bit. She's in her starter's position if she was running track. He's getting ready.
This is how she prefers to time the pitcher. Right. You'll see her do that every time. It helps her. You see her back toe is up on top of that base, and she's able to push off the front of that bag, using that as leverage to propel her forward.
Swing and a foul back by Ferguson. That's a great point, and actually it is like she's using that as like a starter's block.
Oh, that's exactly what she's doing. Yes.
You don't see that very often. There you see her feet, and as we
to put her toe down in the dirt.
There you go. Look.
She'll even, yeah.
Ready?
She's going to push off that bag.
And this one down the right field line, and a fair ball. It'll roll into the corner. Wolf will make the turn. She's on the way to the plate, and that's a triple for Caitlin Ferguson. And Louisville's on the board.
Perfect exit execution by Caitlin Ferguson, driving that outside ball. Watch her as she steps toward this ball and just literally meets the ball to send it down that right field line. And Jordan Wolf scores as a result.
Is that a perfect example of going with the pitch?
Absolutely. She went with the pitch. Her hands just went to the ball, met the ball. That's exactly what she wanted to do. Plus, with the runner, she wanted to send that ball into the right field, outfield to give Jordan Wolf an extra chance to get an extra base or two, which she did.
So it's a 3-1 game now. Still one out, and the potential second run for Louisville at third base. As Chung looks at it outside.
Well, if anybody is going to be able to take Maddie Norman, for yards, it's going to be Becca Chung.
Now we have a timeout here. Looks like Coach Anderson wants to come out and talk with the right-hander. And then Coach Apel over there talking to the freshman Rebecca Chung.
What do you think, Don? Is that kind of the equivalent of icing the kicker right there?
I would think so, yeah, pretty much so. Yeah.
I don't think Coach Anderson had anything to say to Maddie Norman except hit your spots.
That's right.
Patted her on the back and went back to the dugout.
Yeah. Take those timeouts and make them think.
Right.
Chung in a good position here. Let's see what she can do against Norman and the fastball outside. Well, these are the type of innings where you build character. And you saw the excitement on Holly April's face when she greeted Ferguson over at third.
They had quite the little handshake. That was pretty cool.
They did, yeah.
She was excited.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, we enjoyed our conversation with her. She really is obviously happy to be here and just excited, I think, about the potential. And just the tradition you already have. And
sure.
You're going to be a good recruiter to bring players here to Louisville. She said this is the South if you live in Pittsburgh. High and deep and foul. Way out in front of that one was Chung. And you were talking about the handshake. It has a little
Here we
work.
go. She's all pumped up. It went a little further than that. I don't even know exactly what they did, but it was fun to watch. She was all hyped up.
She is really excited to be coaching this program. It was just, she had that glitter in her eye of how excited she is, and you can tell she's a player's coach too. That's a ball low and away, and now Norman has worked the count full. And she is up to 57 pitches and showing a little vulnerability here. Giving up a run, a full count, and you got a potential second run at third. Pitch. And
great
she missed it.
At bat there by Becca Chung. Battled and watched the ball. Held off, did not swing at anything she shouldn't have. That's a great at bat for Becca Chung.
And now to bring up Taylor Roby. There's a good look at Chung. Down at first base.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Holly brings in a pinch runner for Becca Chung.
I think that's what she's looking to do now. She has a smile on her face. And Newman will be the runner for Chung. And now we're going to have another visit.
You see Becca Chung there. We just saw talking to Taylor Roby, giving her a heads up. Hey, this is what Maddie Norman is throwing, or giving her some tips and tricks for what Taylor Roby should expect.
I think Coach just trying to get all the changes. And as that happens, Norman patiently waiting.
So as you see your defense set up in this situation, looking at Missouri, they are squeezing. So with a runner in scoring position on third base, you're going to see all your infielders really come in and be either even with the bag or in front of the bag. So they are able to field a ball quickly and gun down who's ever trying to steal home.
Yeah, you can see defensively they've done that, and as a result now, obviously, Coach April wants to make sure that everything's in order. She helps a little bit with that batting glove. Roby's only been up once. She struck out. That was in the second inning. But as the defensive setup that Van mentioned, they're all in.
And also from a defensive perspective, you're going to have multiple plays that you want for your defense when you're in a first and third situation like this, because 9 times out of 10, that base runner on first base is going to try and steal second to make you make that play at second so the person on third can come home. So there's all sorts of different things, strategies in softball where the catcher might get the ball, the pitcher then will take the ball back immediately. The catcher will throw it right back to the pitcher. There's all sorts of different plays that the defense might set up in a first and third situation.
And that's what they're trying to get straight. They had the squeeze going on. The butt is fair, and now there's a rundown between home and third, and a throw to third base and out at third base. Well, that's not what you wanted from Ferguson, but she got caught in a spot, but she was trying to score. I mean, she was on the run.
Well, and you see Maddie Newman was already on third base.
Right.
So really, Caitlin Ferguson had no
go.
choice.
Yeah, that's true.
You see the pickle here. Taylor Roby really needed to get that ball down.
Right.
The squeeze bunt was on. You see Ferguson working hard. Maddie Newman's already on the bag. She better get her foot on the bag.
Yeah.
Or it's a double play.
That pitch is down low.
And I can guarantee if there are any bobbled balls behind the plate for Missouri, Maddie Newman will be on her horse going.
Now time called. The infield for Missouri wants to get together for a short meeting.
You saw Maddie Norman there smiling. I don't know if I could have a smile on my face in this situation.
Maybe that's the way she gets rid of stress. Roby, a ball, 2 strikes. You can see she's settled in. And Norman's pitch over her head, up the middle, off the bag. And all hands are safe and a run scores. So the Cardinals get a run in to make it 3-2.
That's just a lucky at-bat there by Taylor Roby. It just hits the base right on the front corner of it to send it up in the air. So the middle infielders were not able to make a play on it. But an RBI all the same.
Yep, 3-2 game, and that's the bounce of the ball. And once it hit that bag, it went in a complete different direction. Now here's Snyder. So Norman came in with a 3-0 lead, now has surrendered a 2 spot here in the bottom of the 4th. And trying to shut the door and get her team to the top of the 5th, at least with the 1-run lead. That's a grounder to the short. That's off the shortstop, and there's no play anywhere. We've had some crazy bounces that really the infielders have almost been at will of what the bounce would be.
Well, and number 7, Brooke Wilms, I think she just was ahead of herself, maybe ready to make that throw too soon. And so as a result, she brought her body up a little too much. And when she did that, the ball went popping up and she couldn't field it as cleanly as obviously she was hoping for. It's a routine ground ball.
Well, the even hits now at 3-3. It's a 3-2 game, Mizzou. And Danielle Watson, the sophomore, coming to the plate.
You know, when we were talking with Coach Holly, we also found out all the analytics that she tracks. She's very analytical, loves data, loves to share the data with her team. And one of the things that she tracks is, what are our takebacks? And I thought that was really fascinating. So for every run that the opposing team scores, how do we overcome that adversity? Do we take that back, and do we then make, do we get a run to counter that?
Right. We've seen a couple of those situations, the bounce of the ball on the bag. Those are all parts of the game, but it was really interesting. I mean, she takes it down to the tee and has used it a long time, and it's not perfect, but it certainly works for her. And
sure.
And I think as a team and bringing those pieces together, it really is a perfect way to show all those involved that we need all these pieces to make it work. Swing and a miss and a foul tip. And, well, but she didn't foul tip it. She just missed it.
I think she duffed it quite a bit. That was on the inside of the bat and just kind of rolled and bounced very softly off her bat.
And we welcome you back to Ulmer Stadium on the campus of the University of Louisville for ACC Network extra coverage of the Cardinals Softball Classic. The University of Louisville taking on Missouri. ACC and SEC 3-2. Missouri leading the Louisville Cardinals as we move to the top of the fifth. Well, that's helpful to Watson, that's for sure. A one-run lead's much better than a three-run lead for the opposition, and maybe that'll give her a little jump in the circle. There's a little grounder to short. Ferguson gobbles it up and throws her out. That'll help your pitch count.
Again, a great fielding play. Routine ground ball for Caitlin Ferguson. She takes care of business for her pitcher, Danielle Watson.
You could see Danielle with all the bright eyes of a young player out in here, the competition. And of course the SEC and ACC, two of the outstanding conferences when it comes to women's softball. A nice event for the University of Louisville to host, and that's why they wanted to work so hard to get as many games as they could this weekend. Popped up in the left field. Butler started back, and now she comes in and makes the play for the second out in the inning. So an easy 1-2 thus far for Watson.
I was watching Charlie Butler as she was moving toward that ball, and you could see she never once planted her feet. It's very important for an outfielder to make sure that you always keep your feet underneath you. And even when she paused for a second to judge the ball, you could still see her feet moving a little bit, so she was able to move whichever way she needed to get that fly ball.
It's been kind of a hazy day all day from this morning. Not ideal, and we've seen a couple of situations where in the previous game some outfielders had a little bit of trouble finding the ball. Foul off to the left.
Well, and even early in this game,
that's right.
the ball out to Celine Funky, it was almost like, I don't know if she just got a little complacent or what happened there, but she missed a very routine fly ball that you don't normally see Celine Funky miss.
Yeah. Rollin is grounded out in her only at bat. Now she has a base hit to go with it as she makes the turn, and the Salt Lake City freshman makes her way down to second. That was an error on the part of the Cardinals mentally to allow Rollin to make a single into a double.
That was a big miscommunication there. You saw Caitlin Ferguson telling Charlie Butler, why are you giving the ball to me? That cutoff should be going to second base. You have to be aware of where that base runner is. You can see they're still debating about how they should have handled that play.
Now there's timeout, so everybody's going to come together in the circle.
You can see this again. Goes off the glove of Caitlin Ferguson. Charlie Butler comes up, threatening to throw. Lets down a little bit just to kind of toss it in easy to Caitlin Ferguson. They take the ball, they take their eye off the runner, and she's able to advance.
Yeah, and that's the little thing with 2 outs. It's a different with a base hit, probably a run scoring and not. And so it doesn't seem like much, but there you see Ferguson. She's kind of the captain of things on the left side of the infield.
Well, and if I were Danielle Watson, I would have a few things to say to my team about that. Like, come on, guys, you have to have my back when it comes to those kinds of situations.
It's 3-2. Beautiful shot of Ulmer Stadium as you take a pan from right field over to the left. That's some of the housing on the university campus. Jeremy Noah and his setup for the ACC Extra Network, or Network Extras, all over there. Then you see Cardinal Arena. Good location here, and now we got a good softball game because Louisville overcame a 3-0 deficit to make it a 1-run game, and Greenwood in as the hitter. And she swings on the first pitch, and it's just foul. And she came through in the game 1 for Louisville today.
That's right. Cassidy Greenwood came in to pinch hit in the first game against Indiana State and came up with a great big hit at a critical time when I think it was still tied 1-1, and she came up with a great hit and really started that rally for the Cards.
So Maddie Norman, the starter for Missouri, the former Louisville Cardinal, had things under control. And then Louisville now has been able to score 2 runs on 3 hits, and also a couple of errors by Missouri, just like Louisville had.
Yep.
None of the mistake of Norman. That's a call strike at the knees. 1-2 the count. So Greenwood with that pinch hit. She bounces to the left side, and on the second hop, up and throwing. Wilms makes the play. Quickly 1 away. But you know, Maddie Norman's going to try to get back in the groove this inning because she had to battle through the last inning that allowed the Cardinals to get within a run.
Well, and I know if there's anybody in this lineup that wants to get something started, it's Sid Melton up at bat.
Sid is struck out and grounded out, and she runs up on this one and a grounder to short, and 2 quick outs for Norman.
I'd love to see, as much as I talk about, I love the aggressive hitters getting up there and taking those first, pitch, second pitch, that kind of thing, and driving them. I almost feel like the batters who have battled the best against Maddie Norman have gone deeper into the count, watched more pitches come through, made her work a little bit harder instead of making her work pretty easy. She's throwing the ball so well that the batters aren't getting all that many clean hits off of her pitches. And so as a result of that, the defense is able to step up behind Maddie Norman. I want to see them go a little deeper into the count and battle a little bit more.
Yeah, good example there because it was an easy 1-2-3 inning for Norman. It remains 3-2 Mizzou over the Cardinals. Beautiful shot of Ulmer Stadium as we have a good one going on. 3-2 Missouri leading Louisville in the Cardinals Softball Classic. Along with Suzanne Bush, I'm Don Russell and our ACC Network crew bringing you softball with the ACC and the SEC in this matchup. It was 3-0 Missouri, and then Louisville comes back with 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th. And Moore comes to the plate. Moore is grounded out, got an RBI, and then grounded to third again in the 4th.
And if I'm the one calling the pitches, I'm going inside to Moore every single time. And Sid Melton just needs to be ready for this ground ball. Obviously, Moore loves to turn and hit that ball down the left field line. So if I'm the pitcher, I'm hitting inside pitches every time.
And she's moving that left foot leg up and down because she got nipped.
Yeah, it came off her bat.
Yeah,
it came off her bat and hit her.
That's got a smart Sophomore from LaGrange, Texas.
It's 3 inside pitches in a row.
Yep. Trying to nip that corner. That's low and inside. Now it's 3-1 to count. Watson's thrown 87 pitches. She has walked 3 and struck out 3. That's a little number. The third picked up and thrown out is Melton.
Perfect execution by the defense. Again, Danielle Watson hammering the ball on that inside pitch. You see Sid Melton able to ground that ball very cleanly and make the play.
There you can see Sid lost some of her blackout from the softball knocked some of it off, unfortunately, but she's fine. That happened in the first game today. Now the time called as Chung goes out to talk to Watson to make sure they've got everything square. And Kendall Bailey, the Missouri freshman, takes the ball just off the outside corner. A walk, a run scored, and a grounder back to the circle. So 0 for 1 today, but a run scored. And Watson has pitched much better since her team came up with some offense. That's just foul. That was pretty close.
That was very close.
We'll go back and get the aluminum bat.
From our angle, it's tough to see whether that ball was fair or foul, but the home plate umpire obviously has a better perspective than we do. That's tough to see, but I guess the home plate umpire saw that it was out of bounds when Sid Melton got her glove on it.
Yeah. Because you touch that in fair ground.
It's a fair ball.
It's a fair ball.
Absolutely.
That was pretty close.
Yeah.
You're right. Three runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for Missouri. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for Louisville. Popped up straight over our head. If this was an open booth, we'd have a chance. But it's not, thank goodness. Today, I told you in the initial construction, we would have been on the roof today. Yeah, on the roof today.
We would have had some shaky voices.
And our crew is sticking it out.
I
They're
know.
the tough ones.
Champs.
Yep. Chop foul behind the plate. It's good to see softball underway, though. One of the great sports in the NCAA. Of course, I know you played in high school, and of course, the University of Louisville program is under Sandy Pearsall built a real juggernaut for many, many years, and now with Holly April in, and the second coach in school history. Not many places that happens. Sandy did a terrific job, and I think the hire from Vince Tyree with coaches is a great fit. Swing and a miss, got her to go after a bad pitch that time.
That was a fantastic use of the off-speed pitch. Danielle Watson waited. She knew that Bailey was going to try and reach for this, and she was so far in front of it and tried to lean forward to hit that ball, but that was a beautiful pitch by Danielle Watson.
And that's 2 down in the inning. And now Abby George to the plate. Abby, a single, an RBI, and she reached on an error. Did number 99 in the gold uniform, the gold tops with the black pants and trimming. There's a good look at the youngster. Boy, they've got the gear now, don't they?
Yeah.
Swing and a miss there, 1-1. You got to have the swag. You got to have all the gear, about 15 different uniforms. That's all that goes with it today. And of course, each school, Louisville, an Adidas school. just got a piece of that to stay alive.
Abby doing a great job as a slapper, just meeting that ball, trying to hit it up to that 5 spot where Sydney Melton is.
Well, when you can see your breath, you know it's a cool day, and it has been that since the get-go. 1-2, held up on that high fastball. Missouri had a 15-0 win in 5 innings in their last outing to New Mexico State. And there's a ground out.
It's a great play there by Maddie Newman to catch that ball in the air on a hop to make that last out of the inning.
Well, you enjoyed your softball. We're inside here talking about it, and our crew out in the elements, hanging in there. They're the real winners today. And look at that. That is cool. We love you all. Do a great job. And we're happy to sit here and just talk about it. And because of that, we're playing softball, and you're having a chance to watch it on the ACC Network Extra. And don't forget, October is the big date for the full launch. Now, time called. Catcher's going to come out. Moore wants to talk to Maddie Norman.
It looks like Mizzou has a pitcher in the bullpen right now.
Yeah.
We'll see if they go ahead and give the green light.
All the ups are going to come together for a moment.
Looks like they've got number 11, Bailey Kester, fixing her hair bow.
Got thrown off a little bit. It looks like it might be somebody from IUPUI on the other side of the bullpen.
Yes.
They're in a different uniform. I thought, wait a minute. Might be delaying just to give her some more time. We'll have to wait and see. And plate umpire. Oh, they were out of the lineup order. Now the batting order. So that's what they're trying to straighten out.
Number 14.
That's why the plate umpire keeps that piece of paper in the pocket. Ferguson at the plate. That just off the outside corner. Ferguson at 244.
That would have been a tough one to lay off.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. Ferguson at 244 on the season. Triple and a ground out and an RBI. And that's a ball outside. 3-0 the count.
Again, watching more pitches.
That's what you just said, yeah.
Make Maddie Norman hit her spots, which she's done a phenomenal job with. However, this Cardinal lineup hasn't been able to take advantage of taking early pitches. So they need to go deeper in the count.
Found out that they were trying to make a re-entry. They couldn't do that. They had to keep the player in the lineup. Because you have so many. We talked about that before the game. It's
well, and once you come into the game
and
you've come into the game, you've entered the game, you get pulled out, you can re-enter once. If you try and re-enter a second time, it's an automatic out. So apparently that it was a mistake.
But it's a 3-2 count. That much we know. Hit in the air to center field. That ball is carrying, and it's off the top of the screen. And Ferguson goes in with a stand-up double. She hit that ball to straightaway center, and all he could do is wait for it. And Martin, the center fielder, here it is.
You see this fly ball all the way. She didn't even swing all the way through the ball and hit it almost out of the park.
And didn't hesitate at all.
You see that come off the fencing there. Hard hit shot there by Caitlin Ferguson.
And that's the tying run now at second base.
And I bet they're going to bring in Bailey Coaster.
I bet you're right. And that's going to be it for Norman. Of course, the runner at second base, still her responsibility. She pitched pretty well, but you can see she's not completely happy with herself. Of course, her defense let her down a little bit, too.
There were some errors on her defensive side that, of course, that always irritates you as a pitcher. Hey, I'm doing my job. You got to pull your weight as well. So, yeah, she did look a little down. I think her pitching started off extremely strong, extremely dominated, but it says a lot about this Cardinals offense. They've been able to make adjustments to her pitching, and so now bringing in a fresh pitcher, we'll see how the Cardinals react.
Bailey, a sophomore, obviously a right-hander. She has a 1.11 earned run average. Doesn't have a decision. 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, 1 has been earned. Walked 6 and struck out 5, giving up a couple of doubles. Of course, she doesn't come in the easiest situation, but obviously she's been there before. Bailey, 5'11", from Carterville, Illinois, a transfer from Missouri Baptist. And that we understand they didn't replace Hensley, so that's why she is out of the game.
They didn't notate that she was a re-entry.
Absolutely.
And so as a result of that, Larissa Anderson was on top of it and said, hey, hold on.
Right.
I was not notified that she was re-entering the game, which therefore that's why she's out.
Yep, that's the little things you have to watch. Here's Rebecca Chung. A bounce out to third and a walk. Tying run at second base, and Chung takes a pitch a little bit low. Freshman out of Torrance, California. Well, that's not a drive. That's a flight. If you drive, it'll take you a few days. Beautiful part of California. This one hit in the air to right center field. It's still going, and it's out of here. A home run by Chung. And a big one indeed, a 2-run shot. And Louisville has its first lead in the game. That's what you were talking about, partner.
That was a fantastic hit ball by Rebecca Chung. You see, all she really has to do is meet that ball. She really didn't get the bat on it all that well, but she's got so much power in her swing. She is able to carry that ball with her power all the way over the fence. And funny enough, you saw, I don't know if you guys could see, but the players on the sideline, there is a rule they cannot come near while the player who hit the home run has to touch home plate. If they come any closer, that batter will be out. And so you saw a couple of the players pushing them back saying, don't you dare, because Coach Holly is like, you do that again. They got called for it.
Yeah, they did.
In one of their previous games, and she was like, that's a disciplinary thing. My players cannot make that mistake again.
So it's a 4-3 Louisville lead. And man, oh man, when you have that kind of power and you get it up in your wheelhouse, you can almost just fight it out of the park. She did. Here's Taylor Roby.
Now Bailey Coaster has her work cut out for her coming into the game, and second batter that she faces, I'm sorry, first batter she faces hits one out of the park against her. mentally that's tough as a
Yep,
pitcher.
it is, especially since you've had the lead since early in the game, top of the second, and you're still not out of this inning. And you're looking at the top of the seventh, needing to get at least one run. Here's one off the glove of the third baseman into shallow left field. Wirt couldn't get it. Tell you, the infielders today, and I think a lot of it has had just to do the time of the year and the weather. Nothing's been really easy, has it?
It's tough in a sport such as softball when it's cold like this,
Right.
because you're stagnant. You're standing there. You're not always moving. Whereas, the pitcher and catcher, they're getting constant movement, so they stay warm. But as a field player, you're only getting to see action every so once in a while. And so as a result of that, you get cold.
Yep.
And you're a little slower on your reflex as you normally would be.
Well, and again, in softball, you have the entire dirt infield. So anytime you're playing on dirt, I don't care how good it is.
There's always going to be
You're at
inconsistencies.
the mercy of the bouncing ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's Snyder coming to the plate. Louisville enjoying its first lead now, 4-3, and have out-hit the Tigers 5-4. A strikeout, a single, and an RBI. Snyder takes it up high and in.
We've got Aaron Wilbur coming in to run.
She's over at first.
Yes.
And a chopper to the right side. Going to try to force it second and get it. That's always that tough play to make. Snyder's aboard on the fielder's choice. But you always want to get that lead runner, but it's never easy to do it from that position.
Coach Holly was not happy with Aaron Wilbur not getting dirty there.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to get down and slide. If
Yeah.
she slides, she's safe.
Yeah.
But as you see, she stands upright and is a step late because she did not slide.
Those are the kind of mistakes that a freshman will make. But she probably won't make it again.
I have a feeling Coach Holly will let her know that that is not a mistake she will make again.
And we're going to have another hitter.
First time we've seen Darianne Hale.
She's a senior coming to the plate from Mesquite, Texas. Louisville leading now 4-3 in the bottom of the sixth inning with 2 out and a runner at first.
Watching Darianne Hale get up there with no batting gloves. She's cold. She's been sitting on the bench since, 10 o'clock this morning, waiting for her chance to get in the game, and gets out there, no gloves, ready to hit that ball.
There's a bouncer of the
Nice
short,
chopper.
and again another terrible hop. And all hands are safe. But I tell you, if you've been on the left side of the infield today, and it's got nothing to do with the surface, it's just the way it's been.
Yeah.
There's been some strange hops. Of course, they're using a 3-man crew, so they have to make an umpiring crew. They have to make those adjustments. Well, that Cardinal bench, a little bit more hop over there out of the dugout.
Coach Holly really bringing in fresh sets of eyes, saying, okay, guys, if you're not getting it done as my starter, I'm telling you what, I'm going to put somebody in there who will. And the bench coming up big. And again, now we've got one of these first and third situations and a fresh base runner on first.
Is that Watson?
Yep.
Yeah. This is where it gets confusing.
And again, now you see Darianne Hale talking to Riley Schindler, giving her some tidbits.
Yeah.
Now batting for the Cardinals, number 4, Riley Schindler.
There's a real belief of this Cardinal team under the new head Louisville coach, and Tigers are excited about what Coach Anderson is doing in her first year with the Tigers, and the always tough SEC, as is the ACC. Of course, Florida State winning the national championship last year. Schindler, the sophomore from Borden, Indiana. Good eye up there, taking the ball outside. Louisville has out-hit Missouri now 7-4. They didn't have a hit, I think, to the 5th inning, or the 4th inning, when they scored a run.
Again, I think that was finally the second time that these batters have batted around. It was their second time getting to face pitcher at that time, Maddie Norman. They've made great adjustments. Plus, Coach Holly has been substituting in people that are making a difference.
And that makes it another Cardinal run.
Coming to the plate, number 9.
Great hit, base hit there by Riley Schindler, just meeting the ball again, getting it over the heads of the infield, but dropping in before it hits that outfield line.
So now you have Watson running over at first base. Excuse me, at third base, and then you have Schindler aboard at first. Five to 3 Louisville.
And I would assume that Bailey Coaster, pardon me, is going to be hitting that outside corner, with Sid Melton hitting consistently to that short position.
Five runs on 8 hits now for Louisville. Runners at the corners. 2 out. There's a taken strike at the knees. Well, you're right. They hadn't been an easy task for the Tiger reliever. Runner goes on a delayed steal and going to be out by a long distance. But the Cardinals come up with 3.
Number 7, Brooke Wilkes.
Well, the Cardinals softball classic going on here at the University of Louisville. This is a 5-3 game, and of course action will continue over the weekend. Right now it's a 5-3 affair as you look from high above Ulmer Stadium. Wilms will be the batter. And the Tigers got to do something here in the top of the 7th. And they start by swinging and popping one into left field. And again, looked like Schindler over there kind of circled around it a little bit.
But she did a good job.
Oh, she did. She
angled her
perfectly.
body to be able to move forward or backward. Really handled that ball appropriately.
That's one big out, too. And that'll bring up Reagan Nash. Nash has struck out twice, grounded out. 0 for 3 today. Now you got to give Danielle Watson, too, a lot of credit. She's thrown 105 pitches.
And still going strong at this point. Obviously, that one went in the dirt, but that first at bat of the inning looked pretty darn strong.
Yeah. There's a weak swing and a miss. 1-1 the count.
Nice low outside pitch there by Danielle Watson.
But that offense has really picked her up. She held it to 3 runs. Tried to waste one there. And Nash had nothing to do with it. Did not even think about going after it. Nash batting just under 300 at 298. Senior out of Camden Point, Missouri. Check swing, foul. Now Missouri Started back on February 8th when they had games with Utah, Arizona State, won both of those. And coming into here, they won against New Mexico State after losing to UCLA and Washington. Two pretty good programs. So these are the type of tournaments where you get to play outside your league and hopefully play somewhere a little warmer where you make sure you get your games in if
Absolutely.
you live in this part.
And it's good experience. You know, I think it's important before you go into conference play to have those out of conference games, get to see some different levels. So not only are you seeing, you know, Louisville played Tennessee, who's in the
Right.
top 10 last
Absolutely.
weekend, but they also have played some other teams that maybe don't have quite the strength that Tennessee has. So Louisville is able to execute some of their game plan and work on some of their more strategic pieces while executing as well. So it's good to have a good combination of that moving in to conference play.
2-2 the count. Yet Tennessee had its own problems with the weather, because I know you were considering going down there, and the rain just wreaked havoc with it.
Yeah.
They had to
Push it back a day,
Yeah.
and instead of playing Friday, Saturday, or I'm sorry, Saturday and Sunday, maybe there was a game or two on Friday as well. But Louisville was scheduled to play, I think, one game Friday night, 2 games on Saturday, and 2 games on Sunday. They ended up having to bump the games to Sunday and Monday, and completely had to call off Saturday, which was the day I was going to go down.
Well, Nash is aborted first, drawing the pass. That's not exactly what Watson wanted, was to put a free runner on base for Missouri with 1 out here in the top of the 7th.
Nash did a really great job of battling there, getting 8 pitches, fouling 3 of those off.
Chopper. There won't be a play anywhere. Ferguson able to keep it in the infield, but that high bounce off the dirt
Has been the name of this game today.
The dirt has been the winner.
You see this ball come off the bat. She hits the top half of the bat, and it spins forward when you do that. So when it bounces, it really has some top spin on it.
So now you got 2 on and 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. And that's a strike call as Wirt comes to the plate. Wirt has singled in 3 trips. Single was in the 2nd, popped out in the 3rd, and flied to left in the 5th inning. Check swing, but that's a call strike. Well, if she could get a punch out of Wirt, that would certainly put Watson in a pretty good spot, even with 2 on base.
See this? She was going to get called for a strike regardless.
Yeah. Foul off to the right, out of play. So Missouri has the tying runs on base at 1st and 2nd with 1 out. So that's why Wirt's such a big out if Watson can get it. High and away. A ball, 2 strikes. Kind of wasted that pitch.
It's a dangerous pitch for Danielle Watson to get that far out of the strike zone, because if that bounces off Chung's glove, now you've got 2 runners in scoring position.
Swing and a miss. That is a big K there as Wirt slowly walks back to the Missouri dugout.
I do believe that's what you call clutching up there for Danielle Watson, getting that strikeout.
Number 4, Jasmine Rollins.
You see this
Poof.
great fastball and just a beautifully thrown ball by Danielle Watson.
Now Jasmine Rolland, the freshman, trying to keep things alive. And takes a pitch.
Looking to drag bunt there.
Yeah, really. Where she is the go-ahead run, the potential tying runs on 1st and 2nd. But 2 players out. Watson trying to close it down here. Fouled back to the screen and evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. You have to be impressed with Watson because she's held her composure. She's walked 4, struck out 5, but a lot of that came early in the game.
Worked out some of the kinks. Here comes Coach Hawley.
Wants to make sure everybody's on the same page, I would imagine, here.
For sure. You got a runner in scoring position. You got 2 outs. Make sure the infielders know what the pitching strategy is, what to look for from Danielle Watson, so they're able to read the play before the pitch is even thrown.
Teams will be playing tomorrow here in the tournament. Moved a 3-day affair into 2. What a spot for a freshman. And Coach ready for her team to try to get back in this thing. There's a taken strike. And now Mizzou down to a strike here in the top of the 7th inning. Watson trying to even her record at 4-4. Here's a slow roller, tap on the bag, and that'll do it.
What a great win there by the Cardinals to come back and win that game 5-3.
So that'll wrap it up for our crew. And Suzanne Bush, I'm Don Russell saying so long from Ulmer Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky, where the final score is Louisville 5 and Missouri 3. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on the ESPN network, log on to watch ESPN.